Hello everybody, thank you for joining me. I'm Ari Stepchansky. I'll be your screencast host for today. And in this screencast, we're going to be learning about something called cropping time. And this concept is a result of the time sculpting feature that we're now shipping with Templator in its latest release. I'm going to show you what cropping time is and how you can do it. All right, let's get into these time cropping rules. So the first one you can see is crop to out point. And what this does is it lets you specify which layer's out point you want the composition's timeline to crop to. So in this example, we can see that the footage layer has the comp ends at out point parameter check. And so every time Templator updates the layers, the timeline terminates in the same place that out point ends up. Now, the next one is the exact opposite. This is crop to endpoint. And you can see here that the footage layer has the comp starts at endpoint enabled. So the composition will start wherever the endpoint of the footage layer ends up. All right, now don't forget you can have crop to in and crop to out on the same layer. And in this way, you can have a single layer dictate the duration of a composition. Alternatively, you can have a composition start at one layer's endpoint, but end at another layer's out point. Okay, so let's get started. We've got this new project, and we've got this one footage asset sitting in the project panel. And what I'm going to go ahead and do is create a new composition. I'll call it render. Click OK. I'm going to drag this footage asset to the composition and make it into a layer. And we can see here it is actually 4 seconds long, so that's good. Now, what I want to do is map data to it so I can easily swap out footage sources. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is look at my data set, and I've got this column here in the spreadsheet called shot 1. And you can see here these are file names. And these file names are actually just references to the files that exist in this footage folder here. So when I go back to my project, all I need to do is rename the layer to shot 1, and then apply the Templator settings effect to the layer. So now if I go to preview uses next row, and I'm going to increase this to 25 to get all those rows, and I hit preview, you'll see that the source swaps every time I click preview. And some of the footage is shorter than others. So this one, for example, is 2 seconds. I hit preview again, and this one, we can see that the footage ends at 12 seconds, but the out point is at 4 seconds. And so this is a problem, but not to worry. Our plugin to the rescue. We've got this time group of controls here, and we've got this trim group here. So what we're going to do is we're going to check preserve end. And so regardless of whether or not we're reversioning from a short duration to a long duration, we'll know for sure that the out point will always match the end time of the layer. So now if I hit preview, we can see here, this is short, click again, and now the end is preserved even though the new footage source was longer in this case. Okay, so that's what preserve end and preserve start mean. Basically means that you're guaranteed that the layer's out point will match the end time and the layer's end point will match the layer's start time. So let's go ahead and just check mark both of them. So I'll keep previewing just so we can see what's going on. And basically, we want to make sure that the duration of this composition is also dynamic and that it matches the out point of this layer shot 1. So what we're going to do is while this layer is selected, we'll go into its effects, and within the time controls area, we're going to say comp ends at out point, and we're going to check mark it. So we'll hit preview, and now what you're going to see is the composition's change duration. In this case, it's 8 seconds long, and if I hit preview again, in this case, it's 2 seconds long. And notice we're preserving the start and the end of every footage source that gets brought into here from AE. Now in this case, I have to zoom out because we went from 10 seconds clip to an 8-second clip. Let's see a more sophisticated example where different layers are making use of these two features up here. So let's go ahead and create a duplicate of this layer here. So I'm going to select it, go to edit, duplicate, and After Effects automatically renames that for me. And fortunately enough, I also have a column name called shot2, and these are all the files that are being referenced for it. Okay, so We definitely know that shot 2 has the templator settings effect because it was duplicated, and the time parameters are probably the same even under the trim. So that's good. But now what we want to do is make sure that shot 2 marks the end of the composition. So we say ends at out point. And we want to go back to shot 1, select that, and say comp starts at in point. Okay, so for shot 2, let's go ahead and select it again. We are going to shift the layer until the in point matches the same point in time as the out point of the shot 1 layer, just like that. Okay, so let's go ahead and try that. So we will now open up the shift group of controls here, and the shift target, we're going to say shot 1 because we're on shot 2, so we're targeting shot 1, we're looking at it, we're watching it. The in point of shot 2 is going to shift to the out point of shot 1. So basically, shot 2 is targeting shot 1's out point. So now, when I hit preview, go to next row, hit preview, what you're going to see is shot 1. First, you'll see shot 1, and then you'll see shot 2, and then it ends. This is the end because this is where we marked it. So again, if I do next row, and now I zoom out here, you can see that this one is 8 seconds long, this is 2 seconds long, and then the composition ends at the out point of this layer. Let's back up a little bit and not worry about the data so much as the design of the timeline. So if I change my in point there for shot 1 and then change my out point for shot 2 there, I move my preview uses to current state. What's going to happen here is the shots won't change in terms of their footage sources, but what will happen is the composition here will get cropped. So time 0 will be where the in point is for shot 1, and the end of the duration will be where the out point is of shot 2. So let's go ahead and hit preview. Oh, we see that these preserved ends and preserved starts are there. So before we can even test that, let's go ahead and take these down and then remove those restrictions. Also this one. This is just to show you an example. So if I hit preview now, these areas here and this one will be cropped. And there you have it. So now point 0 is at the end point of where shot 1 was trimmed, or the end point of shot 1. And the end of the composition is where the out point of shot 2 is. Typically what you'll have is like a slideshow of some kind, and you can crop the time depending on different layers. You don't have to restrict one layer to do it all. So just keep that in mind as you build out your projects. So essentially that's cropping time. So thanks for joining me, and I look forward to teaching you more techniques with Templator's time sculpting feature. Don't forget to click to subscribe to our channel so you can learn the latest techniques for automating your video production process. I'm Ari Stapchansky, signing off. Thanks again.